I first learned about Jerusalem University College whenever I came to Israel on an archaeology dig for 6 weeks, a few years ago. I've been here for a year already, and my major is Hebrew, or it's a master's in Hebrew and cognate languages. And so this semester I'm primarily taking Hebrew and cognate language classes. It's good, it's a lot of work, but it's teaching me how to learn the Bible better, so yeah, it's good. I feel like it's important to read the Bible in its context, and you can do that through knowing the land better and knowing the imagery that it uses with that stuff, but then just also knowing the language, the original language that it was written in. And that's interesting because there's usually, or sometimes, there's a lot of different meanings that can come from it, and so it just adds more of a depth to it. The vision of Jerusalem University College is to introduce people from America and from the West, I guess, to a Middle Eastern context, and more specifically, I guess, the context that the Bible was written in, so that you can have a better understanding of the Bible. And a lot of the ways that they do that is obviously by bringing people from the West here so that you can experience it, but then also just seeing the land and getting to know the people and learning the languages, and you just get to know the Bible in a richer way. The college is equipping us to spread the gospel better by helping us to wrestle with things that I don't think we would normally wrestle with just back in the States and stuff like that. But it's interesting too because a lot of our professors are locals here or aren't Christians at all, and so they pose interesting questions that we would never think of. So I think it kind of just breaks our worldview in some ways, but the great thing about JUC is that it still holds true to its like Christian heartbeat, and it's done in this environment to where it can foster and just kind of shepherd you along in that in better ways, I guess. I think one of the ways that it's helping make disciples, I guess, is just by the staff that it has here. We do have a lot of professors who aren't Christians, but then everyone who lives here basically is a Christian. And so Dr. Reich is really good. Dr. Reich and Vernon and Aubrey are really good about just always being open for questions and just kind of walking through these things with us and just being mentors to us. And then the people that they put in charge of student life and any other really head position seek to promote spiritual growth here. And it's a small enough community to where you know everybody really well, and you kind of have to walk in a family type of setting with everyone. And so you learn a lot about the body of Christ just by living in this little compound sort of thing. The student-teacher ratio here is pretty small, and it varies semester to semester depending on how large the student body is, but it also depends on the class for sure. If there are a lot of Middle Eastern and religion students here, then there will be, obviously bigger classes there. So I guess the biggest that you could have would maybe be around like 30 or something, or 40, but then sometimes you have a class with like 5. So, but either way, the teachers are one of my favorite things about being here because they're all super helpful and will do whatever they can to help you learn, and I've never been in an institution where the teachers care as much as they do here. It's interesting to be here at a Christian university in a non-Christian environment whenever you grow up in the States and everything's just, more accepted. And so I think for the students here who come and are only here for a semester, I think it takes a lot to learn how to be a Christian in this context and what the Lord is asking of you here, or just how He's leading, and how to be sensitive to the context that we live in here also. And so, yeah, definitely pray for, I guess, the students and the faculty for sure. Pray for the faculty. But then just also financial giving with scholarships and Short-term groups are also a great thing too. Like JUC has a bunch of short-term groups that come over the summer and over Christmas break. And that's a really, really cool way to just get a little introduction, but a really quick, I don't know, meaty introduction to what the school is all about. And yeah, you learn a lot. You get to see the land, and it's really good. Students at JUC come from everywhere. There are a lot of undergrads, so you see people that are like, I don't know, 18, 19, and then you see a lot of people who are here for graduate degrees, so it's like, I don't know, 25, 30, 40, 50 with families. There are people from all over the world, mostly from the States and Canada, but a few from other places too, like Korea and China. And it's interesting too because it's such a small university that I think one of the most common questions that you ask new people here is, how did you get here? And for everyone it's the same thing, because it's like, who's heard of Jerusalem University College, But usually you get to hear a really cool story about how the Lord has led you here. And it's kind of the same story of what you're going to do whenever you leave, because no one really saw this coming in their plan. And so it's kind of just a step of faith to see where He's leading you afterwards too. I do what I do because the Lord led me here. And I've just been blessed to be here. I love it. Like, I love studying, I love learning more about the Bible, and seeing how it's practically used in my spiritual growth. And I don't know what He's preparing me for, but yeah, I love being here. The staff is really great. They're one of my favorite things about being here. I think it's an honor and an unusual privilege to study with the people who teach here, because they are all well-renowned in their fields, and yet they teach at a small school like this. And it's also a blessing to get to see people who believe the things that they believe and don't just communicate things secondhand, I guess, if that makes sense. And so that in and of itself, just being around the faculty, is a huge learning experience. Yeah, it's definitely a unique opportunity to study here.